If you go and see there, you must go, you will see India. An India of another dimension. When Mark Twain visited India, he said, anything that can ever be done, either by man or God, has been done in this land. It's incredible, incredible.
If you stay at the Kumbh and every day you're in that water, you could transform your physical body, your psychological framework, your energy framework, and above all, find enormous spiritual growth.
That is, people should stay there for 48 days, every day in the river along with that sadhana. The people stayed there and went through this process and came out fully transformed because it is not a ritual, it's a scientific process.
This Mahakumbh as a knowledge base, as a place and a time that people, large number of people will seek as a source of inspiration, healing and transformation, which is what it has been for thousands of years. Maybe in the last 5, 6 or 10 decades in a century, it could have to some extent lost its relevance and its significance simply because, well, the nation has not been in our own hands. So reviving this, what this means, what is so significant about taking a bath once in 12 years? It's not about that. This comes from a fundamental dimension of yoga, which is referred to as bhuta shuddhi, which means to cleanse the 5 elements in our system.
People are putting their last penny and traveling from somewhere just to be there for 2 days and go. I'm saying it's that level of people, where 100 rupees would mean like what a million would mean to you, that's how much 100 rupees will mean. That kind of people, putting everything that they have, they come with their families just to be there because somebody has told them on that day if you take a dip, you will attain mukti. Not that you'll see God, not that God will come and give you a heap of gold, you will attain mukti. Still, 800 million people in this country are actively seeking liberation, knowingly or unknowingly. It's an incredible thing. Nowhere else on the planet there is such a phenomena happening that there are human beings longing to go beyond their present level of existence consciously. Nowhere else such a thing has happened. When Mark Twain visited India, he spent 2.5 to 3 months in India. He said, anything that can ever be done, either by man or God, has been done in this land. This is one of the best compliments India has ever received, and that is so. In terms of understanding the mechanics of how a human being is made and what we can do about this, nowhere else has anybody looked at it with the profoundness that it has been looked at it in this culture, nowhere else.
A lot of studies have been made on the previous Kumbh and they found phenomenal physiological changes in people who stayed there for over 40 days and every day they were in that water.
A Kumbha Mela is supposed to be for 48 days. That is, people should stay there for 48 days, every day in the river along with that sadhana. This is part of the bhuta shuddhi tradition, where the fundamental process is to cleanse the elements in the system. And water being a major part of it, water is considered very important for health, well-being, prosperity, whatever we are seeking in our lives. So this 48 days has particular specific sadhanas where people stayed there and went through this process and came out fully transformed because they made use of the natural forces to transform the quality of oneself, not just physiologically, even spiritually. But today people are going just one quick dip and out, that's a different game. There may be some benefit, we don't know, but it's too brief. When I watch people, they're just in and out in 3 minutes. That is too brief to have any kind of major impact except maybe an emotional involvement. I know you can't take off maybe right now, make up your mind on 48 days, but if you are planning your Kumbh trip, at least plan minimum 3 to 7 days so that you are there, do some sadhana, benefit from that process, rather than make a ritual out of it. It is not a ritual, it's a scientific process. It's just that science has been lost and practice has been carried on, that's all that's happened. It's time to put back the science because only then we will benefit. It's time we approach these things with little more understanding and meaning to it so that one can really benefit rather than simply making a ritual out of it.
For those of you who are thinking, what has it got to do with me? Because I live in an air-conditioned home. Well, to put it in a very fundamental way, if our mothers' bodies were not in sync with the cycles of the moon, we wouldn't be born. Yes, we wouldn't be born. So the cycles of the moon and the sun has a profound impact in the way we are. If you sit down and write down different things that have happened in your life, you will see a certain pattern. If it is falling into a 12-year cycle, you're in a reasonably good place. Health and being peaceful is not an issue. Now it's time to work for freedom. time to work for mukti, that's what it means.
If you stay at the Kumbh and every day you're in that water, with the appropriate sadhana attached to it, you could transform your physical body, your psychological framework, your energy framework, and above all, find enormous spiritual growth within you within a span of one mandala, which is 48 days. But today, slowly, it has become more just a quick visit, a half-a-day visit where you take a simple one dip and you're out. Well, maybe in today's world, we can't get all of you for 48 days at the Kumbh, but I was talking to the Chief Minister and said it's important that we set at least 40 days of sadhana for everybody, wherever they may be. Every day 10 to 12 minutes of sadhana in their own home for 40 days, then come and take a dip. This will make a huge difference because the importance of it is at a certain place, if a certain volume of energy is happening, do you have the ability to receive it? Do you have the ability to perceive it? If you cannot perceive, no matter where you are, everything will go waste. So the whole science of why the Kumbh, why at certain latitudes, why where the confluence of water bodies are happening, there's an elaborate science about it. I don't want to go into the entire process now, but essentially this is what it is, because if the water within you does not respond to the water outside of you, now the water that is here, how this water behaves within you will determine the nature of your health and well-being in a big way. It's my wish and my blessing that this Kumbh Mela should become a huge step in that direction to awaken the world to this possibility.